In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not.
This was the first clue that sparked a light in my thought, and I could clearly see the true name for jerk. Suddenly, I was taken aback. To my GED class, where my teacher was teaching us how to break down a large word, and also how to break down a sentence that made no sense. She said just start with the first word in that subject, and that should give you a clue of what the sentence is about. Also, the big words, break it down in small syllables. The first syllable, the first word, would give you a clue of what that large word means. Finally, every word is connected to a thought. Get rid of the thought and focus solely on the word.
Let me ask you something. Where do you think big words come from?
People with big brains.
Right. What do you see?
A bunch of big words I don't know.
Ah, look again. What kind of power do we get from the sun?
Solar.
So, what does soul mean?
Sun.
What does terraneous sound like?
Terrain.
Meaning the earth. Solid terraneous means the sun and the earth working together. So where do big words come from?
Little words.
And how many little words do you know?
The year was the early 1400s, the dark Middle Ages for Europe. Famine, starvation, the wrath of God, wars and treaties. But somewhere in the 1420s was a noble shoe store, where the actions of the shoemakers was recorded. Pulling and tugging, quick movements to make shoes. A perfect name was born to describe that action. The name was jerk. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was jerk, and jerk was a verb. Evidence of this was recorded in Grammophobia by Patricia O'Connor and Stuart Kellerman. At the end of the 14th century, a new world was discovered, and a new word was also discovered. Christopher Columbus set a sail on his voyage with 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. He sailed with men of various skills: armsmen, interpreters, carpenters, boatswains, goldsmiths, and even convicts. And on the ship was Jerk. And jerk was only a verb. In 1492, Columbus and his men witnessed the Tainos cutting strips of meat and smoking it over a wood frame. A process and a very familiar verb known to them as jerk. The year was the 1400s. Europe was recovering from the curse of the Middle Ages. Famine, starvation, the wrath of God, wars, treaties, and healing. These ingredients served a nasty flavor of poverty, homelessness, orphanages, separation of family, and the seek for identity and surnames. Various tragedies emerged to solve these problems. It was during this era a perfect solution and word was born. The word was Erky, which was pronounced jerky. Jerky was a noun. Jerky was now used to categorize loss of profession, surnames, and also loss of origin. It was also used in plays and poetry and comedy. Comedy such as Weedies by Elizabethan, a George Gershon creation, and also The Widow of Watling Street by Shakespeare. In the 14th and 15th century, jerky was a noun, a verb, and a solution. The year was 1498. Christopher Columbus was on his voyage for more plunders for gold and silver. He was on his way to South America. Christopher Columbus not only discovered South America, he opened the portal for the 14th and the 15th century. And in came Fray Domingo de Santo Tomas, the father of Charqui.